Test. Metronome off. Looks good. Gain all the way up. There we go. That feels right. Yo.
What's up, Ev?
Not much, man.
Good to hear from you, dude.
Likewise.
What are you up to today?
Not much. Slept in super late. It was one of those okay, so I've been going to bed at 4. A lot of video games this week. Last night, I fell asleep on the couch at maybe 1, and then woke up at 5. Did a load of laundry, did some reading, and then was looking at tattoos and shit. Just one of those nights. So then I went back to sleep, woke up.
Just did the half day yesterday, is what you're saying?
No, yesterday was full. I don't know. I guess just today, I haven't been awake for very long. But just sort of I guess I got played a lot of music and woke up. Cass and I kind of cleaned the house. And then I got on eBay. I think I placed one bid.
Dude, that's where I got the radio at, eBay.
The radio hat?
The radio. That's where I got the radio at. eBay. Yeah.
So that's interesting, because when I was looking, I couldn't find one. Has that come in yet?
Not yet, man. It's been going through some weird in-transit moves on my tracker, It's just been in Chicago for a while. Just keeps saying different in-transit updates within Chicago. But, yeah, I don't know. It said guaranteed delivery by June 5th, which was Friday. Still not here yet, but I've just kind of been... I excitedly just took the radio out, so my car, it doesn't even have its battery necessarily hooked up right now because I had to, take out the negative charge while, just to not blow any fuses or anything, to take the radio out. And and so my car is just sitting in my backyard right now, with the radio is in kind of, it's just in a place where it's out and you can see all the cords, and so it's ready to be unplugged, but I just have it in the perfect position so that I can, right when the new radio arrives, be really prepared to just swap it,
Yeah.
I was just
That's
excited.
Funny.
Yeah.
Just your car sitting in the backyard. Working on the car.
Yeah, I actually was just chilling with the hood up for a bit after I kind of had gotten done with the little thing I was able to do, and there was this little chipmunk that was going into the hood, and I was like, oh shit, better get this guy out of here before he gets into my car, into the body of my car,
Yeah, I've heard in the wintertime that stray cats will sometimes crawl into the wheel well and chill on your engine if it's still a little bit warm.
Wow.
And that potentially by starting your car you can kill them, but I don't know. Maybe it's just not super common. I definitely don't check. But if it happened, that'd be traumatic. You just smell something going down the road. You pop your hood and there's just a cooked cat.
Yeah, that'd be tragic.
Did you have any trouble finding that radio?
So there's none for my car, but there's a lot that are for the 2002 model, which also works for the 2001 model.
Okay, cool.
There was a decent amount to look from, and there was I had to figure out which one was the best to pick, because certain ones would be $30, but then it's $18 shipping, and so then this one I got was $40, but it was free shipping.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think I still could have done a little better, but this one just seemed trustworthy, and
and it's one of those things where once it's in and you're just playing music in your car, you don't care if it was 40 instead of 30.
Yeah, no, that's where that's where my options were at. It was I can really look and get the perfect one for 30, or there's a lot in the 40 to 45 range, and then there's some that would add up to be 50 or 60, which or just the ones you don't go for. So I was in the middle, and so either way, yeah, I'm not gonna be down about it.
Yeah.
Was just happy to pull the trigger and excited to have that cassette player. I was thinking about doing of course, as I was sitting there watching like this video on YouTube to like how to install a Bluetooth radio into your 2001 Toyota Corolla, you know.
Yeah.
I was thinking about doing like my own tutorial on how to install a new radio into your 2001 Toyota Corolla, like with my 4K camera, like, you know, and have my video not be about installing a Bluetooth one, but just like the same kind, like this cassette, you know, radio, and just put on a character for that, you know.
Yeah.
Like those videos, I keep watching them because I keep having to do things.
They're fantastic. They're one of the best things about the internet.
Yeah.
It's car repair YouTube.
I mean, just repair YouTube. Yeah. So I was thinking about entering that market with like a goofy character, but like really nice cinematography and looking camera, you know?
Yeah, there's a guy that does it with like not necessarily repairs, but just like motorcycle stuff in general. Like I found his channel, I think, when I was just like first looking for a bike, and he just had a video about like things to look for when you're buying a used motorcycle. But it's all like this very theatrical. It's like got skits, and he'll like break the fourth wall in them, and like it's like really well done, like aesthetically and like content wise, and it's like funny, and like he like knows his shit. And he's even just like doing things about just like the whole business plan of Harley and like where they've shot themselves in the foot, and like going into like, it's just like really interesting, and it's like super high quality production just on this like kind of like motorcycle page. It's kind of interesting because I feel like it's just kind of this wave that it's natural and it makes a lot of sense, but I didn't necessarily see coming. Like I kind of just always thought, you know, repair YouTube would stay as like you know, a shaky camera in one hand.
Kind of poorly explained, but also figure outable.
Yeah, it does everything, but just very, very camera in one hand, other hand in your car or whatever. But
or put the camera to the side and then you just can't see what the guy's doing.
That can happen. Can happen. Or the sound can be weird. And I don't know. I mean, like nobody, like it's totally sufficient. But there's definitely room in the market.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that it's such a good place to like look up what you need to learn how to do, you know? So like there's a decent chance you can get some random people clicking on your video just because like there's always going to be people that don't know how to do, you know, little things that would go to YouTube to get the lesson, you know?
Yeah. And it kind of feels like giving back.
Yeah, like you are kind of teaching.
It's cool. Just like, yeah, we've gotten so much from YouTube, but I really haven't contributed a ton.
Yeah, man.
Huh.
But yeah, so the radio's not in, but I'm just excited about that.
That's cool. What else have you been up to?
Dude, today, Elly and I went to the Coralville beach.
Oh, yeah.
Just relax out there for a bit, and she kind of dropped the idea, the thought of, well, you know, we weren't able to visit your sister in Spain, but she is in Washington now, and, you know, Twin Peaks was set in Washington. Maybe we could go on a trip to Washington and then visit the world of Twin Peaks.
So you're in the car?
Yeah, we were driving there, and she was talking about that.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but we basically are in the car. Yeah, I called Hollab, see what he's up to this week, because might as well go down to San Fran while we're at it. And he's pretty free, so we're really thinking about doing it. I was just looking up Amtrak prices,
No shit.
Dude, I want
What do
to
you-
do it, man, but it's a little more expensive.
What are we talking there?
We're talking, so there's a trip Wednesday of this week
Yeah.
to Sacramento that then goes up to Seattle. There is the option where we could just get off at Sacramento, drive the hour and a half with a rental car or something to get to Holub, to San Fran. Or we go up to Seattle first, like from there. Like we go straight to Seattle, we do the whole double train trip to Seattle, and then after seeing that, drive down to San Fran, and maybe instead I don't know. See, that's where it gets trickier. I mean, that was kind of what I was looking into, but it does seem like the thing that would make most sense would be to get a room on an Amtrak for $745 to Sacramento. So $745 split between the two.
Oh, round trip?
Nope.
Hmm.
So we would have to rent a car, and I can rent a car in Sacramento and return it in Cedar Rapids. Because Enterprises,
How much? Do you know how much that would be?
Yeah, I think it would be about 300.
No shit.
So
300
it's
plus
just
gas.
by the day.
There's not miles.
There's not miles. It's unlimited mileage.
Fucking A. That's like way better than I thought it'd be.
I always thought it was by miles, but dude, they do it by day now. And it's $221 a week for most cars.
Wow.
So we were going to just drive it from, Sacramento to San Fran, from San Fran to Squacamo, or whatever the Twin Peaks real name is in Washington, which is near Seattle, and then head on back and maybe stop and stay in Billings for a night to cut the trip on the way back from Pullman, Washington, where my sister is, which is on the eastern edge of Washington.
So how long? What's the timeline on that? You said
So
the train would leave
basically,
on Wednesday.
it takes like a couple days to get to Sacramento. We would leave at like 6 p.m. from Mount Pleasant, and it's about a 40-hour trip. But you have a bed to sleep on, and they provide all your meals. And there's like a dining room you can hang out in. There's an observation room you can hang out in. So you're not just like stuck in a little seat.
Yeah.
You're essentially in a moving Airbnb, which is really expensive, but also really incredibly beautiful and, right up my alley.
Yeah.
And supposedly, so it's called the specific route is called the California Zephyr, which goes through the mountains of Colorado. Supposedly one of the more beautiful routes that Amtrak provides.
Wow.
It is a lot more expensive in total once you calculate it all out, which I was just doing, which is why I was a little late to the call, to do that, than as opposed to driving just Elly's car, all the way. 'Cause gas is a little bit cheaper right now, and it's just like a lot cheaper to drive to Pullman, Washington than it is $745 to get to Sacramento,
Sure.
So
Sure. Plus an extra $300 for a car to come back.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So it's tough, because it would be really cool to do an Amtrak.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something you've wanted to do for a while, and the money's kind of here right now.
Yeah.
Does that include meals or anything?
Yeah. So it includes meals, coffee.
Ooh. Which actually, I mean, like, not that, if that's a couple days,
Yeah,
you
man.
can definitely factor that into the savings.
See, that's what I was thinking. But it's... See, it gets to a point where, like, yeah, it's still going to be a lot more expensive, but, like, okay, I can keep adding more factors into this to, like, reason for it to be, not so much more expensive, you know?
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it too, you would have to break up that drive, so that's a
You don't have
hotel or an
B&Bs
Airbnb.
on the way there? Yeah.
So that's, yeah, you're probably saving at least 100 there. And then food between the two of you, that's at least another one or two.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you know, the gas.
And then the gas.
So it actually is pretty competitive. And then the extra 300 on the way back is just like, you know, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
That's not too bad for like doing it the way you want to. It's like the radio. Interesting.
Yeah. And then so the other option we're contemplating is doing a rental car from Cedar Rapids to do the whole drive and to fly from San Fran, which is like a $90 per head flight back.
No shit.
Yeah.
To Cedar Rapids?
Yeah.
Fucking A, dude.
Yeah.
How much is a flight
because prices
there, like,
are so down right now. I mean, dude, we were even looking at it, and after looking at this, like, after really giving Ellie this pitch for the Amtrak, she just says, well, would this be, like, more expensive than a flight to Sacramento? Because we're looking at a $745 trip to Sacramento, essentially, you know? And
Yeah.
and so I look it up, and, you know, as the app's loading, I'm getting nervous, and, yeah, you see $84. And so you're kind of just like, well, shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
And like COVID wise, it's not too different. I mean, you get to skip the airport,
you get to skip the airport.
but I mean, like, I feel like it wouldn't be terribly difficult to, like, you know, you're wearing a mask, you're not touching shit. I really don't touch shit in an airport usually, anyways.
And I think they're doing like one seat per row right now, anyway.
Yeah, I feel like everything's handling it pretty responsibly. So it'd just be like the actual cabin, which is no different than the train.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
It's really tough because like all options are really good. Like if we just drove, we would have a lot of fun and it would be the cheapest, and we would know that while we're on the route, you know. But also, if we rented a car, we could fly back and we would know that during this drive there, we don't have to drive back. We're gonna fly back, you know.
Yeah.
Which is just nice because you have excitement on the way there, but on the way back, you don't really. Unless you have a good planned route back where like you're gonna stop somewhere else on the way back and it'll be cool to see this place, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I've been doing a lot of that today, and then
What if you Amtrak'd there and flew back?
it's a
So it would kind of
it's
like
a good
make-
option, man.
You'd kind of like make up the time and the money. Because it sounds like flying's cheaper than anything.
Yeah, well, no, flying isn't quite as well. Yeah, I guess we could fly both ways, and that could be the cheapest route.
Flying both ways sounds the cheapest because, yeah, you're not going to get there on $90 of gas. But I guess, I mean, you get to split the gas, but still.
The thing is, the cheap flights aren't until like next week. I guess the ones I was seeing were one ways, you know. So I guess I could try and find 2 one-way flights, you know, kind of separate, that were both kind of cheap. Still waiting on Hollop's confirmation too, by the way.
Yeah, he's living with his grandpa.
Yeah, and well, like he was pretty confident. He just had to like talk to them about it. But when I told him the plan was kind of to hit San Fran last, which I hadn't thought about Amtrak until just recently, and the Amtrak leads us to be like San Fran first, so that might be really tough on Hollop.
Yeah, that's like, yeah. That's Friday.
Yeah, that's Friday, dude. But hey, it's Friday, bro.
Yeah, it's Friday.
What are you doing, bro? It was cool though. Like right when I called, he was like, "Man, I was just thinking it'd be cool for you to come out here and like we just do a skate vid." And I was like, "Dude, yes. Like that'd be so fun to like see San Fran via like the places he'd like to show me while he skateboards through them, and I try and capture what the places look like on a camera. You know?
Yeah.
Be fun."
So I'm just picturing the whole thing.
Yeah, man, I'm hyped about it.
So you think it's happening?
I think it's happening, and
Because if something didn't quite work out with Holland, you could still do the trip regardless?
we could just go we could go up to Seattle, you know, we don't have to stop in San Fran if Holland can't handle us, you know, but ideally that'd be the route.
Damn, dude.
Like, Ellie is just working with the angler remotely, like on her computer. So we're able to do it right now. Kind of just recognized that, and really, like, as soon as the thought came out of her, it was like we both were pretty locked in on, like, okay, so, like, how should we go to Washington? It's pretty quick. It's a pretty quick flip. Like, I didn't even end up going in the water at the beach because I was just so, like, thinking about the trip.
Yeah, I'd already forgotten about that element too. So how long would the drive take?
So the plan would be to push through the first day, 14 hours to Billings, Montana, Airbnb,
Okay.
B&B that, 15-hour drive, about a 15-hour drive to Billings.
And I've seen you do that.
Yeah. I mean, I could at least I've proven to do, 10?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Ellie says she can easily do 10 too because she used to do that to go to Nashville when she went to Belmont. So, you have two people who are overly confident about a 15-hour drive.
Two drivers who can throw double digits.
Two drivers who, like, really confidently for some reason claim they can easily do 10.
I mean, I believe it.
Yeah, and I mean, dude, Ellie is really good at reading in the car, which, like, I'm not good at all, but, like, that's a great setup right there. Like, if somebody is able to really entertain themselves with reading, like, Cassie's good at listening to books, right? Yeah, Ellie's really good at reading in the car, so, like, she just got 2 new books that came in, you know, so that could be a smooth 15. Who knows? Anyways, yeah, so it's a 23-hour drive to Pullman. So 15 hours to Billings, which is on the way, and then another, like, 7 or 8 to my sister.
So do you know how many miles that is at all?
I think it was 800. It's like 2,100 total between the whole, to get, like, from here up to Pullman, up to Seattle, down to San Fran.
Was 2,100?
Yeah.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Damn. That doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, let's see. So Pullman, Washington. $1,600, but that's not, like, there and back. Like I said, because that was planning for the flight from San Fran to Cedar Rapids. Yeah, 1,600 from Pullman to Pullman, and then Pullman to Seattle is 285, and then Seattle to San Fran. $800. So I can't remember exactly where I was, but between 2,100 and 2,600, I'd say, miles.
Yeah.
And again, those don't matter in terms of, like, if we did do a rental car, but
Yeah. I was just, like, trying to imagine it.
see if we Amtrak there to Sacramento. See, what I'm thinking is I tell my sister to meet Ellie and I in the Twin Peaks area of Washington. Have her drive, 4 hours that day to meet us there. That way, I mean, we wouldn't see Pullman then, but we could Amtrak. Oh, dude, actually... Yeah, what if I flew out of... What if we went to San... Okay, well, dude, I'm just gonna figure this out later with Ellie. Just fun to think about.
Oh, it's so fun to think about.
You been thinking about any trips lately?
Well, I mean, just like literally like within the last half an hour. Like, I mean, before this even.
Yeah.
I just had the most boring week. A lot of video games and YouTube and, and I'm just like not really used to that kind of week. And so that's just got me, I'm kind of, it's been interesting. I do just feel like I'm not, like that this is a real opportunity that this much time.
It's confusing.
Maybe I'm not.
Because, like, when you go somewhere right now, like, maybe everything's closed. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like you don't have to call off work. So, and, like, a lot of places are available for pickup, but mostly you're going to places to see what it looks like there. Yeah. Not necessarily what it... not necessarily what the coffee shops they have are like, You're just trying to, like, see their trees,
You said it. You said it exactly. And I don't know about, like, state to state, but I imagine if, like, that trip, I imagine most of those states are open. If you're going through South Dakota into,
See, that's what I'm thinking, too, man.
All that shit's got to be pretty open.
Yeah, I don't know about, like, Washington, but there's specifically, like, just a legendary diner, which Twin Peaks uses a lot. That, like, really, really trying to hit. It's called the Double R Diner. It's really called Tweety's Cafe, but it would be really great to have a slice of cherry pie in there. I will say, I really hope that we Amtrak it, but I totally get it if we decide not to use that dollar. Or especially if, like, if Holub can't take us in that quickly.
Yeah. Damn, that's exciting. It's inspiring.
What was the trip you were just scheming out before the call?
I don't know. I don't know. That's
you were just thinking about a trip.
Yeah, either maybe just messaging Turner, maybe messaging Jonah. Part of what brought it into my head today was I'm just like, I haven't climbed anything in months. And, even so I was looking, like, Climb Iowa, there's 2 gyms, like, in the Des Moines area. One is still closed, one's open, but it's not the one that I want to go to. And I was like, man, but, like, Rock's open. And I was like, I don't know. Turner was talking about getting equipment, so I was like, I'm just going to see maybe if he had anything, we go do a climb trip. But then also, like, I know Jonah's leaving, maybe either at the end of June or the end of July to move. So if we were going to go west too, time's kind of crunching.
Ooh, yeah.
Which that would be 4 days of the longest rides I've ever done.
Like consecutively?
There. Yeah. And then back. Well, but that would be, yeah. But you could also just make it as long as you wanted, theoretically. It'd be kind of exciting. I rode the day before yesterday. I met up with Cassie's moms.
You were saying that, yeah, Friday, right?
Yeah. So we ended up doing that, and we just kind of met in the middle of the state, did a big loop, and went back. And I mean, I think I was riding for like 5.5 hours, maybe 6.5.
Wow.
Well, no, probably 5.5. Yeah, and it didn't even, like, that didn't even feel like, my butt was sore, but it was like, it didn't feel like I was, hunkering
Falling
down
asleep
for a
at
big
the
thing.
at the cycle, like.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah, you can't. It's just too much
Oh,
of a
you can.
satisfactory.
Yo, you can.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. I shouldn't be speaking as if I know.
But I mean, like, I didn't even have to go into the coffee or anything. And if you're doing the real deal, you got coffee and Adderall, get you there. It is, I mean, part of it's just this weather.
That makes you want to see the world?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just need to... I never think about it, man. I never think about it, but I need it to be brought to my attention. So when Ellie brought it to my attention, I knew. But, like, I never think about it.
Just getting out.
Yeah, I never really think about just getting out.
Yeah, I'm even at the point where, like, I kind of am, like, considering what I watch on television. Because like, I'm just, like, one good Anthony Bourdain away.
From
like,
hopping
looking at
on
the
a big
international
plane.
flights, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, like, that, I think I'd feel a little bit uncomfortable with. Like, socially, I guess. But, yeah, like, every part of me at least wants to watch the television. We were watching the Conan Without Borders a couple weeks back, and that was actually really cool.
Yeah, Ellie's
Brad's a good
parents
dude.
were into that.
It's
And
good.
so we watched a few.
Do you
Looks like
remember
Mexico.
which ones? Yeah, okay.
I think that might have been it, actually. We might have just watched the Mexico one.
Okay.
We might have just watched that one twice.
That's so funny. That's just like something that happens when you're like at your parents' house or something.
Yeah. They just throw it on after you watched it the night before or something.
Yeah, okay. I gotcha. I was kind of just thinking like cable days.
Yeah.
You turn on cable and it's like the same episode of South Park again. KFC leaves. Yeah, the cannabis company moves in.
My dad just watches Hoarders all day.
Really? He likes Hoarders?
Yeah, but it makes my mom sick.
I feel that way when Cassie was watching like one of those addiction shows. I'm not even sure what that's called.
It's just like kind of depressing.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want these people in my house. I'm like,
Yeah.
I get that they're not physically here, but like,
Yeah.
like it's just like a family crying, telling them like, Mom, like you need to quit smoking crack. Like, dude, this is like affecting me.
Yeah. This is being thrown into my consciousness.
Like I have to deal with this on some level emotionally.
Absolutely, man. Don't watch Hoarders.
I don't want to.
We are in a minimal way. No, we're not even close, but yeah, I mean, I got stuff, man.
Yeah, we're eclectics.
Yeah.
Conscious eclectics.
Mm.
I think that might be where I'm at.
Yeah.
It wax and wanes.
Been doing a lot of protesting this week.
In Iowa City?
Yeah, every day about. We usually go about 2 days on, 1 day off, but yesterday was the first night that we didn't go at all. 3 days before that, I think we just went for like a little bit in the early sesh and then just let it out. But it's been pretty wild here, man.
Did you make it to the highway?
Yeah. Dude, it was
Which
so
night?
beautiful out there, man. Oh my gosh. So we went to the highway Thursday night. Which was okay, so the night before, Wednesday, was the night that we didn't protest. We went out for the first few hours or so. But then we went in because I had like a Zoom call with some old managers and you know, it's nice to like take a night off from it too. I mean, I feel like that's a lot of the pressure, especially Ellie's feeling right now, of wanting to like help and be a voice and be an ally, and but like at a certain point you need to like take a day off to still, research and read on things a little bit yourself, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know, stay safe and just if you can't stop thinking about it, that might be a sign that you need a day off from it,
Sure.
It doesn't need
Yeah,
to
I mean,
control
it's good to have a level
you.
head.
It's good to have a level head. Yeah. So the night before Wednesday, the one night like we didn't go, they got tear gassed on the way to the highway. I don't know if you saw any of that.
Oh yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah.
Cassie's been following it.
Yeah, I bet.
And she was in town, but I don't think she ended up going.
Yeah. So I
But
was
then I did
surprised
see
we didn't hear
yesterday.
it at all.
Were you out there last night?
Last night we went. Wednesday was the night the tear gas. Then we went Thursday, Friday, and then last night was our 2-on, 1 off. So last night was our off.
Okay. Because I just saw I was getting Snapchats from Stella. They made it out there. Kind of people were at Kinnick spray painting the Niall Kinnick statue.
Yeah.
Which, spray paint comes off, but
Yeah. Yeah. Some people were saying like, I draw the line at Niall Kinnick.
yeah. Well, I mean,
It's
it
like-
is a weird one. Like well, I support smashing windows, so I really can't like I'm not actually. I don't know. I
You're
did
not
look at
anti.
Crooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, fuck it. And especially, like, that one, like, it's completely reversible. Like, no. But if they, like, tore the statue down, I'd be like, alright, bro, like, that dude's, like, kind of like a hero. You know what I mean? Like, really, as far as I know, I was, like, no spot on his record.
Yeah.
It was just, like...
I don't know much, but yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Like,
if
you spray paint it, it's no big deal at all.
It'll be completely okay.
It'll be
the story of
completely
Niall
okay.
Kinnick that I know, which is pretty much just, like, the footnotes, one of the greatest, I guess I was only Heisman winner. Super charismatic, like people said like maybe would have like gone on to be like the president, like that caliber of person.
Wow.
Was just, you see him, he's infectious with all the right qualities, just a person to look up to, and then goes off into war and dies.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
maybe there's no untold story, but that's like, if we're talking about good
That's
Americans, it sounds like one.
pretty darn good character there.
Yeah, like that's that's a good statue,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so I don't know if
maybe,
they made it.
Maybe spray painting on it is not just disrespecting it though. Maybe that is like you're like kind of channeling like, what would Niall Kinnick think of this?
Yeah, I honestly I don't think it's even has anything to do with Niall Kinnick to spray paint Niall Kinnick. I think that like the point of the spray painting of things is to just put your messages where people's eyes go to, and it doesn't matter what you're spray painting. It just matters what the spray paint is saying.
Yeah.
Like right now, they're not like, I don't know, they're not trying to say Black Lives Matter over Niall Kinnick's face.
Sure.
They're just saying Black Lives Matter.
True, and I mean, yeah, it got the word out for sure.
It gets the word out, and
you're
and
saying
so
it where people are looking.
you're saying it where people are looking, and then also you're saying it on places that are specifically, have been known to, or people have researched and figured out have had some racist stuff going on. So there's kind of both.
Yeah, you're right. It is a very real tactic, even if it's not that considered.
It's just to be heard.
Yeah.
It's just to be seen.
So,
It's not to damage a thing in particular. It's just that like you need to send your message.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. That makes sense. It is. Yeah.
But yeah, dude, going out of the highway was so great. Okay, so yeah, Wednesday night they get tear gassed on their way to the highway, which supposedly I was not there that night, but I had some people come over to our backyard because it's just right down to Buke, So
Sure.
on the way back, we stopped and we talked for a bit about the night, and they said that like there's a whole line of state patrol covering Foster Road, the corner where you used to live at, and so they're approaching them, and I guess like 5 minutes after like getting within like their sight, they had tear gassed and flashbanged them. So they didn't really like do anything. They just by approaching they just tear gassed. And so
do you know like what they were going to do had they reached the highway? Were they going to try to stop traffic?
Yeah. Yep.
Ooh.
It's a way to stop people from getting in, to stop people from spending money in Iowa City, I think.
Wait,
that's what they're saying.
Wait, so were they just gonna like chill on the exit ramp, or
Wait,
I was
so
picturing they're like going line.
I get. Well, we went down. We went over the ramp and then through. So we went basically the way the car would go
Yeah.
to get onto 80 West. So, yeah, it wasn't necessarily the exit ramp. It was the entrance ramp. So, yeah, I don't know exactly, but anyways, they weren't going to be able to get through the line of armed police anyway. So, because what's been happening with protests is we'll kind of walk through to certain areas, and we have certain routes we follow, and usually we've been going to the courthouse and the jail, and each stop there's just a bunch of police officers that are armed in like riot gear.
Yeah.
And the crowd just kind of chants at them to take off their riot gear and to, there's no threat here, so yeah, and then the police don't do anything, but we don't do anything either because it's a peaceful protest. So that's what would have happened, but they decided to just tear gas to get us out of there.
Yeah.
But anyways, the next night, the mayor was with the protesters, and I think that's why the police were more willing. The police actually blocked off the highway for us.
Yeah.
Which was Thursday. So we went out on the highway Thursday, and they kind of just, spray painted their messages on the highway, on the walls of the highway, and had a speech out there, and then we went back downtown. And then Friday night, so the next night after having gone and touched the highway the first time, we went right back out to the highway, and they had it blocked off for us again. And this time we had a full hour where we just sat, and it was like right away they were kind of trying to get like a talent circle going. Like if you rap, if you sing, like here's a megaphone, like show us what you have. Like this is about what people bring to the table. It's not about So it was really cool, and it turned out to be mostly like speeches about stories and anecdotes that people had gone through, and people of color had gone through mostly. And so that was just really it was such a beautiful night, like weather wise, and just to be sitting out on that highway as the sun went down was just such a unique experience. Like the highway is so big, and I heard somebody next to me as we're walking down that ramp to enter the highway. It's like, man, I've never, you never see this while you're walking. It's like, it's a whole different thing. And it was just like that was just it. It was really cool to see it. It really is just this, it's a lot larger than you think. When you're driving on it, it just seems like a road, but those are big roads, man. So that was really cool. And then we actually went downtown, and there was like a vigil for Breonna Taylor. It was her birthday. And they had got a bunch of flowers, and they had a bunch of people kind of, moment of silence, and everybody was in a line to drop off some flowers by a picture of Breonna Taylor. It was a really cool night, back to back, those last few. And then last time, I'm not too sure what they did, but it's been a lot. It's been a lot of what this week was.
Are you going to go out tonight?
It sounded like there wasn't any protest tonight, but that could be wrong. The plan was that they were going to protest. They were going to go out on the highway every night because they have a list of demands, like a specific list that they want Iowa City's community to change. Things to implement in the school systems and in the, I guess, just laws. And so the plan is to protest until the laws are changed. And so they're going to go to different establishments that certain laws that they want, or certain rules that they want changed.
Do you know any of those?
Yeah, so I could read them off to you here quick. There's this Instagram page which I was looking at, which they posted all of them, because that's what they did at the highway. That one of those first nights was just read off their list of demands.
Are these okay? So just out of curiosity, because I've seen a couple lists for other places. Would you say that some of these are more Iowa City specific, or are they
These are
sort of
Iowa City specific.
Okay, interesting.
They want a 25% cut in funding for ICPD to be redirected to social services and intervention programs, like for mental health services, drug treatment, and addiction prevention. Affordable low barrier housing, before and after school programs, and public transit. A citizens police review board with real power, including subpoena, subpoena, whatever.
Yeah.
The ability to enact and enforce measurable consequences when board recommendations are not followed or implemented. Divestment from and removal of military-grade equipment and contracts from the federal government. This is for the police department specifically, these first ones. Drop all charges against protesters. Strong statement from city in favor of protests.
I like that one.
including
we demand that you back us up.
Yeah, including the prioritization of police accountability for racism, addressing issues of systemic racism and inequality, and also the deprioritization of law, order, and property. Decriminalize the use and possession of marijuana up to 40 grams.
Whoa.
Yeah. Reduction of probation length.
Can a city do that?
I don't know.
I mean, it's weird because technically states can't, but they do. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Decriminalize the use. Okay, so I said that reduction of probation length and no drug testing for marijuana. Funding for SPI program, Parks and Recreation. And then for the school board, they want an alternative school review board process for students. A representative school board, the complete removal of SROs from city schools, so like police in schools, police officers in schools. Housing, they want Johnson County Sheriff / ICPD may not enforce evictions, and the curfew must be lifted in Coralville. And that's it. Those are their requests.
Interesting. Have you heard any outside opinions on those?
Nope.
Huh. Do you think they're being taken seriously?
Not really. At the moment. But I do think that these things could have changed. Could be changed if they continue to protest. Kind of depends. I mean, dude, there was over 1,000 people out that one night. I think. So I don't know. I think that things could get done. It just.
Do you think that Iowa City can stay on this?
It seems. It's hard to say because I didn't go last night. I think last night was a determining factor because the night before it had been a little bit of a smaller crowd. But there had been nights with smaller crowds in between bigger nights. So, but if there were back-to-back nights here with smaller crowds and the potential of maybe today not having a protest, that could really start to affect the turnout.
Yeah.
Oof. And if Elly and I hop on this Amtrak, that might be tough too,
Well, I'm sure there's protests everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna take a quick leak.
For sure. I did do a little documentary of one of the nights, if you were curious. I took the VHS camera out there. Some decent footage in it. One of the more important moments was when we got on the highway. Was a little too dark to see much, but yeah, I threw it on YouTube. I would just go to that old Ricky O'Connor page, man. You might as well watch the whole thing. All of them. Yeah, I would just type in Ricky O'Connor. My chant. Yeah. It was fun though. I tried to show a lot of different signs to kind of tell the story of where people's thoughts are at, you know?
Sure. Anything stick out to you?
We are not trying to start a race war. We are trying to end it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy that people could view that the other way.
Yeah, man. And people are. I had the other day, so I guess in relation to the tarot thing, you know, a little family update. My sister had sent a couple things. My family's had a couple things back and forth, but it's all been fine. Although some things are just like my dad's kind of trying to, you know, he's trying to make sense of it, and my sister's also trying to share her thoughts, which are pretty similar to mine, but my dad's aren't, you know. So, yeah. And my mom's been pretty quiet and telling me as well recently. But my dad ended up sending me just a message personally that, you know, it's all very complicated, and he sent this video, and it was a video of a woman, an African American woman who was explaining how she didn't support George Floyd and was going into how he was a criminal, and that's sort of where my dad's at, is going that route of getting to the specifics of this person, whereas I was trying to explain how it's not necessarily about it's about the whole thing. It's about the bigger picture, you know?
Yeah.
And so that was a tough conversation to have with your dad.
That's a really hard one to have him back to.
Dude, and over text?
Even if that is completely the case, you know, you gotta go to court. You can't decide this from the sidelines after someone's been murdered.
Yeah. Like, he was murdered, man. Like, they say that in his autopsy he was, you know, he was on drugs, and but dude, he was murdered. Like, and then so she goes into these statistics about, you know, black crime, and that's where I just had to, like, open up to my dad about how, you know, these statistics are lopsided. So how are they lopsided? Because, I mean, I don't know, but I believe that nobody is born a criminal, you know? And so if the statistics are lopsided, then that means that there's something in the system that is flawed, to have made results that are lopsided, you know?
Yeah, even like very specifically, I was talking to a buddy that's kind of in the law enforcement side of things. And he was just saying that, like, well, like, statistically, like, a lot of people do, like, have more, like, drug charges. I'm like, well, dude, like, you're getting these numbers from, like, people who have been arrested and found guilty of drug charges. Like, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because I think, like, all polls show that just everybody loves drugs. Everybody does drugs. It's like no race, has a monopoly.
Yeah, alcohol is a drug.
Use.
Alcohol is a drug, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Illegal drug, but yeah, but I mean,
but just substances. It's just there are substances that people use, and there are worse ones, of course. But there are a lot, like the use of marijuana. It's being seen in a different light these days.
Totally.
And it's being seen in a certain light when you look at the statistics. So it just doesn't add up, and so I had to try and give that to my dad, and he never really responded to that one. And then I went along to add sort of, the police system is kind of a whole different conversation too, and I think Arian Foster covered it pretty well in this, so I sent him that same
dude, that shit was so
podcast. And Tommy, Tommy and Bird, they love Barstool Sports, which is what that was on. Those are the host of Barstool Sports. So I thought it would be a good way to get my dad to think a little differently. Just by listening to that podcast that he already has comfort in,
Sure. Yeah.
Just to hear things that way, and especially the way that those guys handled it, like with a very much of a, like, hey man, I'm here to listen. Like, I understand that, there's a lot that's been wrong in what's happened in the past of this country. So, like, just enlighten me for a bit, and so I hope my dad listened to that,
Yeah. It's interesting having those conversations. Because I had one with my mom too, and I think she's much closer to where I'm at, just because, I don't know, my mom has a great heart. So like ultimately she does want fairness for all people.
Yeah.
But then like the parts where we differ is just kind of, she doesn't think like rioting. She's just not a fan of like rioting and looting and stuff, which
that's exactly where my mom's
it's a
at.
closer,
and I haven't really talked to my mom about it much, but that's what she was jabbing at right away, was what is going on with the looting.
Yeah, which like I get why some people can focus on that. I also, I think that there's a lot of ways in which that's just like really short-sighted, but like, I don't know. I mean, you can only do so much when you're having a conversation with someone, and then like when I was talking to my law enforcement friend, who is much further than I'd like him to be as a friend, let alone as law enforcement. I mean, yeah, that you're probably not going to be able to change their mind, but you're just trying to. In that, I guess I was prioritizing our friendship. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I'm not going
to go into your face about this.
Yeah, and just try to, I don't know, I was just trying to like open him up a little bit without ever like, never trying to like force him to see where I was coming from. And even, I don't know, what I found just like most effective was just like, asking very like I just, one time I just said, kind of asked, and it was after sort of admitting that, every human being is a little bit racist. At least a little bit racist. Everybody. Everybody. And then a little bit later, it kind of, he'd gone off a little bit, and I just had asked, like, like, how, like, do you think that you are at all racist? And just, like, giving him the chance to, like, think about that, and try to, like, figure out, because, like, it's just one of those where, like, and even he has like good intentions, and I think that like part of his like deep respect for police officers and anybody on that side is like that as a police officer you should take your job seriously, and by doing that it means being a good cop. And like so he like looks at specifically the George Floyd case and he's like absolutely condemns that. Like that is a bad cop. And you like need to get rid of bad cops. And so
you need to get rid of bad cops. And that's what my dad started with, was listing off the research that he'd done about that cop in particular.
Yeah.
So he's trying to back up the fact that this is a bad cop. We need to get rid of bad cops.
Totally. Which I think is great. And I almost think it's actually a really similar parallel to like, well, okay, this is kind of weird to say out loud now. I'm already like seeing things wrong with it, but I'm just going to say it because I'm already going at it. But it's sort of like, you know, most, oh fuck, I don't know if I can say this. It's just that like a small group can ruin it. And so it's like people who are looting.
That's what Arian Foster was saying.
Not the majority of protesters.
He was saying it comes with having those people that are looters, and you have to like kind of try and seek them out, and try and because they're gonna ruin your image.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of the times, like Cassie was saying, is you have the possibility that some of these looters are not even for Black Lives Matter. They are specifically planted in this protest to try and make the protests look bad.
That shit is crazy.
That is crazy, and that's
it's something that you like want to dismiss, but like it's just like so factually there that you have to. Yeah, I mean, I was even just seeing some shit, and this I haven't like looked into further, but just like I think it was in California, a like specific location that there were going to be protests that night. There were these like pallets of bricks, neatly stacked.
Dude.
Ready.
What?
Yeah, just like riot supplies, neatly laid out where it was gonna be, and it's just like fucking weird.
That is weird.
And there are some weird videos of spotting people that are not.
I saw one, where like the guy like somebody lit like some homeless man's stuff on fire, and then like the homeless man's like putting it out, and he's freaking out at the guys, and then he runs over to the cameraman. And the cameraman forgets to turn the camera off, and he keeps videotaping the guys. He says, "What are you doing?" This is my stuff. And he's like talking to the guy, essentially as if this guy is with the other guy that lit his stuff on fire, and it's just them two. You know what I mean? Like from watching the video, it really does seem like this homeless man is talking to this guy like, "What are you doing? Why are you lighting my stuff on fire? Like, wow. You're obviously the guy that just lit this on fire. What are you doing?" And then the guy turns his camera off. But forgot to like cut that part out. Or at least like maybe just didn't realize that it was that clear. Or that's like, he just thought that, oh, it looks like the homeless guy's going crazy here, But he's like actually very sane and just like, what are you doing?
Damn, that's heavy.
So yeah, man, it's really hard to tell, but luckily it seems like, I don't know, I guess I haven't been online as much. I'm just like more Iowa City focused, but it seems like the violence in the rioting is going down now. And there's more of an emphasis on peaceful protests, but I could just be wrong there. Because like I said, I'm just so locked in on Iowa City's protests.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think we can take a little moment too to acknowledge that it sounds like Hong Kong kind of had lost their battle.
Hong Kong had lost their battle?
Yeah, I mean, they've been
protesting. They were protesting for what?
So Hong Kong is technically, they're like... So, like, the history of Hong Kong is that a long time ago, they were, like, kind of under Chinese control, but then the UK controlled them for, like, a very long time, too. So they're, like, mostly, like, Western. They're, like, super, like, they, like, have had democracy, freedom of speech, and they're just, like, very, very Western. But China was just, like, trying to... They never, like, were giving them, like, fully freedom of elections. Like, they would, like, okay, you can have a democracy, but we'll pick who you can choose from. And shit like that. So the people of Hong Kong were protesting all of this, and China just, like, continuously was just restricting it more and more, trying to just make them a part of China. And they're like, no, like, you've promised us. Like, we have, signed documents saying that we are not a part of your control and that you will let us go completely. And so they've been protesting all of that. And it sounds like that has finally hit where just China's not respecting it at all and is just completely taking it over. I remember at one point they were going to give make it so that you could extradite people from Hong Kong to China. So like, if somebody is speaking out, you can take them to China to be tried, and then you can just banish them. And yeah, and so it was like kind of looking good for them, just because like their protests have been so strong and going on for so long. But I think it just kind of hit a point where they're just like, fuck it. Which the UK's been super cool. The UK is offering, they're offering passports, or they're offering visas, a 12-month visa for anyone that has a passport or can apply for one from pre-1997, I think. So it's like offering like 3 million people from Hong Kong can come to the UK with a visa that can earn you citizenship full-time there. Which it's interesting to see like how many people will actually go. It'll at least work for like students that are studying.
Wow.
But it's weird too, because we just kind of passed June 4th was the anniversary of Tiananmen Square, which I actually did not know much about. But just a video popped up on Reddit that I was watching, and the video's a little bit dated. I think it was maybe like 2006 thereabout. But it was just this Chinese man in China, and he would go around and just like ask people. He'd just be like, "Hey, like, do you know what today is?" And they'd be like, June 4th. He'd be like, "You know what day that is?" And they just go, "I don't want to talk about it." And they'd walk away. And you go, "Hey, you know what today is?" And they'd be like, "I know what you're talking about, but I don't want to say anything." And it was just happening like over and over, and I was like, wow, like I guess I just didn't realize, like just seeing that was a little bit sobering.
Yeah.
And some people were even just like asking, like, dude, like what unit do you work for? Like, why are you trying to set people up to like say something wrong that could get them jailed, or like at least like hurt their odds of getting a job ever?
Yeah.
So that like made me go back and really, you know, because I only remember just like some of the images of Tiananmen Square, so I just wanted to refresh a little bit since it was the anniversary, you know. And essentially Tiananmen Square was just this giant, like mostly student-led protest, fighting for freedom of speech, freedom of press, and things like that in China.
Wow.
And the Chinese government killed, nobody even knows how many, but it's like hundreds to thousands of people there. And then they put out a list of like the 25 most wanted people in China that were all just like mostly like students and shit that had like organized it, and they've just like looped that on television like 24/7. And most of those people, some of them like left and have just never returned. Some of them have just never been able to get a job. But so it's just really like, crazy to see that, like, specifically that. So they wanted freedom of speech and freedom of press.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's, I think, you know, that's the 70s. So I think it was the 70s.
Dude.
And they lost, you know, and it's just like, that's where it's at now.
I mean, they lost and they were murdered.
And they were murdered, and they still do not have that.
Yeah, it was like literally shot down.
Literally shot down. And so it just kind of puts an exclamation point next to all of this. It's like, it feels like we're inevitably heading toward progress, and in a lot of ways I feel like that's true, but just hearing something like that, it's like, okay, right now we have the opening. Let's make sure we get it now. Because if we don't win it here,
who knows how long it will take.
It's possible. Yes, that it could go a lot longer.
Yeah, it's like, that's the worry, and that's the reasoning. It's both the worry of, you know, what will happen is the protests, you know, slow down and things don't change, and the reason that protests are happening every day. Like, you know, Deech asks me, like, you know, how long are these gonna last, and what's the purpose of these, you know? And so it's like, the purpose is to keep this on people's minds. I saw there was a tweet today that said, here, I'll pull it up just really quick, just because I thought it was an interesting thing to see. It said, transformative change starts with us in the streets demanding it. And it says, the Birmingham movement lasted 37 days. The Freedom Rides lasted 7 months. The Greensboro sit-ins lasted 6 months. The Montgomery bus boycott lasted 382 days. So, you just keep protesting.
Yeah.
It's the only way that either tragically it gets shot down or it actually changes, But if you just stop, then, then nothing will happen.
And
or at least
one of my
a
favorite
little.
things that Arian Foster had said when he was just saying that some people say, damn, I said say a lot. Some people say, what is protesting and rioting going to do? Or protesting and rioting does nothing. I call bullshit. Look at history.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so potent and
yeah.
That is the way I view all of this. While looting, whatever.
It's already doing
but it's
something.
dude, this is.
It's already done a lot.
Yeah, and also this is just going to keep happening.
About it.
This is just going to keep happening.
Yeah.
Unless we address it. So it's
yes.
if you actually care about rioting and looting and want to stop that, bro, there's a way.
Yeah.
It's
there is a way.
That
Dude, you're so right. If you want to stop looting,
even
there's a way.
That doesn't, there's a way. There's a way. And so I don't fully encourage in the same way that I'm a little bit apprehensive about straight not connect, but dude, that's you're just putting a little bit more pressure on there. You're just
all right. Well, then listen to us. Listen
yeah.
to us. All you have to do is listen to us. This is not a difficult game. And I thought another thing that I think it was Arian Foster that also said, it's people think that being called racist is worse than being racist.
Yeah.
It's he was saying that people have more they hold on to the fact that their claim of not being racist rather than accepting or putting your feet in your shoes in somebody else's, feeling what it would be like to be
somebody else's feet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, and that really is.
And at the end of that interview, he also said Cornel West is a guy that he speaks on this in a very a very insightful way and in a very calming way. And so I went on Thrift Books and I found a few that looked cool, man. I looked up what he had in his catalog and I ended up finding a few on there that were cool. So those are still on the way, but I ordered a couple. And then also anything in life, you become aware of something pops up, and so he popped up the other day on my Twitter feed. He was on the news and he was talking about stuff, and he was talking about the protest, and what he said was, you try and you fail, but you try and you fail better. You keep trying and keep failing better, is what Samuel Beckett said. And so Samuel Beckett was an Irish author who I was aware of and had to read some plays by in English at University of Iowa. So, but I thought that was insightful as well. It's sort of like we said, it's these protests are important and they aren't necessarily the end, but they need to continue to make change.
Mm-hmm. It's an exciting time in a lot of ways. I feel, at least. I
think so too. I mean, I think that this is also some part of social media's benefit, or the benefit of social media, is the ability to spread these movements.
Yeah, and it's cool because in a lot of ways, I trust social media. Mm-hmm. That sounds a little bit weird, but it is just cool to be able to see things where just everybody has a camera. And you can just watch that shit. I like that. I like that a lot.
Me too.
I have some sort of comfort in that. You just get to see. Yeah, I mean, it's just if I were to record something crazy, you know what I mean? You would know that you can get it out.
Yeah, this could be seen on a grand level.
It is nuts how. There's a lot of still crazy videos of, a pregnant woman in a car getting pepper spray shot at them, and then the husband's or I don't know, maybe partner is yelling dude, there's a pregnant lady in this car, fuck you, and then they just shoot it again, it's pepper spray bullets, and clearly the guy's antagonizing them, but still bro, you can't just keep shooting pepper spray at pregnant women.
Yeah.
It's just nuts, and I feel like there's just so much of that it's like, oh my god, I don't even know. Like, people are probably getting away with it too in a lot of ways. Even those people that are on film might even be getting away with it. You know, if you can't identify them.
Or they don't even care to look into it because it's one of their guys.
Yeah. There's just so much of that shit.
So much. And
it would be interesting if there was like somehow it was like known what each officer did, and this is sort of the great test.
Wow.
That'd be funny. You know, there's just like something in their badge that tracks it, and so you can see when there's footage of that. We can link it to it was clearly this guy, and that's definitive proof. And so these riots are just saying like, you know, like do what you think you gotta do, and they're like, bro, you did that, get the fuck out. That was a test, and you failed.
Yeah, like they just have everybody monitored. I think somebody the other day was just murdered by the tear gas. By you can die from tear gas. It's kind of scary, considering it happened here.
Right. You probably have to have a hefty dose or some breathing issues, but yeah, I'm sure it could happen.
Yeah, man. It sounded like this woman didn't even have asthma or anything. But
I was talking to Cassie's mom about it a little bit because when she was an MP for a while, and so part of that training, you like went to this like big auditorium, they shut the doors and set off tear gas, and you had to like go down the line and like say your name and like your phone number or something, just to like make sure you're like coherent. Maybe your social security, I think she said, which is funny. And then you had to, everybody had to do that one after the other before you could leave. And
wow. And just a room full of tear gas?
Yeah.
You're just waiting in line?
Well, and actually I think first they had on masks, so it was to show them, okay, in masks you're completely fine. And then everybody had to take them off and go through that drill, before you could leave. And she said it didn't affect her terribly, but that it really just does affect everybody differently.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, she definitely didn't enjoy it, and it burnt. Her skin was, like, what she felt most. It just, like, burns.
Yeah,
but like some people, it was,
skin.
it was, like, just, like, tears streaming down the face, snot falling out of the nose. Just, like, every extremity is just, like, trying to flush it. And just, like, getting so flustered that you're not breathing right so that it's even worse. Coughing, choking. You can't say your name and your social security number, so it's, like, taking longer.
Damn, dude. I mean, it's so nuts to think that they just tear gassed a bunch of people that, you know, like, it's a military weapon, man.
Yeah.
You're just dropping a military weapon on just, like, these civilians. It's pretty crazy to me, but...
The rubber bullets are weird, too.
Yeah. Like, I just keep seeing pictures of people with just, like, giant bloody gashes on, like, their foreheads. I'm like, what's going on?
Dude, yeah, that reporter got shot in the eye.
There was multiple people that have lost their eye, I think.
It's crazy. Yeah, I think you're supposed to bounce them, is what I've heard. But they're not doing that.
But there are some people
even that sounds weird to me, because it's like, if you're bouncing them, I feel like you're going to get more headshots.
Yeah, I just feel like that's just as bad. I mean, it's worse. Yeah, like, you don't know what's going to happen.
You don't know where that's going. It might take a little bit of speed off it, but man.
Dude, I think, okay, it's kind of unconfirmed, but I think that the like, Tuesday night, like, so to go all the way back to Tuesday, we were out for a while and, you know, did that route to the courthouse and the jail, and there were police at each spot, but they weren't really listening, and so we ended up going to, like, that Johnson County Administrative Office type thing, but, like, on the way to, you know, me, every direction revolves around McDonald's, so it's like, if you're going from McDonald's, it's kind of on the way to McDonald's if you're going down Benton from Gilbert.
Okay, so the McDonald's on Riverside?
Yeah.
And if
so,
you're
like,
going down Benton,
it's like
Benton,
a one-way spot. It's kind of like a one-way spot. Like, it's a weird intersection, but there's this, like, little police administrative building.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, we were all out there, and somebody, possibly not a part of the crew. I mean, I don't know, man. Somebody swung a bat at one of the windows, and so there was just loud noise, this crack of a window. And before we knew it, I mean, I don't know for sure, but it really seemed like there was rubber bullets shot at windows to get us all to run and scatter. So we all ran. So, like, I think we got rubber bullets shot at us, too, on Tuesday. But it was, like, a little bit harder to tell because it was more about, like, you had no idea where it came from. But it's just, like, you heard these, like, boom, boom. And I look to the right, and I see what looked like a bullet. You know, a window up from all of us. And so that was a pretty scary moment. But it kind of slipped my mind. I kind of forgot about that. I think we had gotten rubber bullets shot at us too. now that I think about this.
Yeah.
I didn't get any confirmation on it. That's the only thing. But
yeah.
To me it's what it seemed like would happen. It was just so much chaos that like nobody knows what's going on, you know?
Yeah. Are anybody out with you guys kind of like dressed for it?
Oh yeah. We have a full team of medics. We have a lot of people bring like helmets and vests and goggles for
yeah,
tear
I was going to
gas.
ask about that. You think? Oh, goggles for tear gas. I was curious how goggles hold up on rubber bullets.
Yeah, I don't know, but like I was wearing some science lab goggles, bro.
Yeah. Science lab? Do they breathe? Well,
yeah,
no.
yeah. Actually, I don't know if these weren't necessarily science lab because they didn't go over the nose.
Mm.
But they kind of looked like science lab.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because part of me thought there were vents on the side, but then I thought about it. That probably doesn't make a lot of sense for science. They probably are sealed.
Yeah, but normally, like before we're approaching kind of like a police zoned area, we'll have like a big circle of people, and then they'll bring all the medics to the middle, and they'll have them all kind of walking like on the side of us.
Mm.
And they've just recently did an update for like encouraging people to bring like a little light stick and like a few different colors pinned to a few different meanings as to like what you are, what you have, what if you have water, if you are a medic, if you are a director of where we're walking.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's been pretty organized. Like the first few nights, it was a little bit like, okay, what are we doing? That night where the rubber bullets got shot, it seemed kind of like, all right, like I feel this kind of tense energy with like people wanting something to happen, but like really we're just out here to protest and send our message. Like, it's like I feel like people were a little bit too amped up, and that's what led to the chaos. Was just people wanting something to happen. They just want the police to like make a move,
Yeah.
Sure. But as of late, it's been much more organized and to the point about like what are we trying to get done. This is why we are out here. We're not out here to cause a ruckus or to cause chaos. We are just out here to represent a voice. So it's been nice.
I really like DIY order.
Yeah, dude.
DIY
it's
organization.
Cool. It's cool.
That was kind of one of the interesting little takeaways of seeing Minneapolis, maybe 2 days after.
Yeah, you start to like get a sense as to what the leaders are doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like so local to the point where like, there are a lot of streets being blocked off just by, people. But each intersection was kind of blocked off in a different manner. So it's like so they weren't even necessarily all talking, at least to say like, all right, you go block over there, you go block over there. But not even like picking one method. Everybody kind of had their own. Which was just like kind of a cool way to do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just kind of everybody would just step up and do what they thought was best in the way that they thought was best. And it worked. I liked that a lot.
I like that too.
And it's kind of funny because when we were driving in, we're like, we don't even exactly know like where the protests are. And like part of you like is expecting like, do we just like get the town and there's like signs like saying like protesters this way? Yeah. Yeah, that's like what we like thought, but which actually wasn't terribly like off. And we were even joking, like I was like, so like to protest, like where do we park? Is there gonna be a spot for lunch? You know, like just like viewing it like in that way, which is like, you know, I was doing it partly comedically, but also like where the fuck do we park? Like we do have to like figure out like the logistics side of protest. But even that was sort of like, it actually was like pretty well, you know, you start to get closer and you can just tell that you're getting closer because you're seeing people on foot carrying big things of water bottles. Even like we stopped at a gas station to fill up and people were just walking out of it with 2 big things of water bottles, you know, 48 water bottles each. Like,
yeah, 2 big cases. Yeah, that they just pass throughout the protest.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of what we've done too. Trash bags, you know, milk of magnesia, water.
Yes. Yeah.
And so you just can kind of tell that you're getting closer, and you get to the point when you can barely find any parking spots, and you snag one, and you start walking in the direction that most people are. Or you can kind of tell if there's people walking both ways. You can kind of tell like who feels like they're leaving it and who feels like they're going.
Yeah.
And then you find it, and you see like churches with stands, or even just like random like corners that just like have big piles of water, so you can kind of drop things off. Yeah, and then obviously you can hear megaphones. You can get around. It was interesting. There was definitely like one big intersection, which I think would have been like right about where he was murdered, where there was just and I didn't even actually know that at the time, but there was just like a bunch of flowers being put down, which I didn't even consider that. But I was like, that's beautiful. Like I wish that I would have kind of brought flowers. Yeah. And they were in the street, so you're like you're like stepping over them, but like, you know, you're in this like large kind of crowd of people, high traffic. So like a lot of them were kind of like smashed into the pavement, you know, and like dying. Like the petals of these leaves are like black and on the creases, you know, and kind of like dying in the street.
Yeah.
And like, you know, that just sinks your heart. Like there's no better metaphor than that.
Yeah, dude.
And then to learn that like that's like about exactly where it happened, it was like, man, like I didn't know that, but like, you know, I knew that.
Like you felt what it would feel like to get that understanding by just seeing it.
Oh,
you
yeah.
Just felt,
very,
you just
very
felt.
clear. And the only thing I can really, well, I don't know. I guess like the thing that comes to mind when I think about that is just like visiting the 9/11 memorial is like super powerful in a very similar way, where they just like did a perfect job of representing how it feels. Because the 9/11 memorial is just like the footprint of the building, so you get the sense of scale of at least like that dimension.
Whoa.
And it just, around the perimeter of it, it has the names of everyone who was in the building, who lost their life. So you've got that, and you can just look at these names, and you know, like, people will put like little flowers and stuff, and people, you know, so you get like not only, like, you get a sense of the human scale and like what these, like, you know, the connections that these people still have, even though they're not here. And then all of it just kind of sinks down many floors. It just falls, and it's all water. It's rushing down the walls, and it kind of flattens out in the middle, and then goes down a second drop that you can't see the bottom of. So it's just like everybody's standing around it, and all of these names, and it's all funneling down into this like bottomless void, and it just feels like just like this deep sorrow and tragedy that will never really be filled, and it's just going to this place that we don't totally understand, but just like looking at it, you just really got the feeling of it. Like, I think even if, you know, and I'm, you know, I was 5.
Successful in its design.
Perfectly successful in design. Because I was 5,
from the design
like,
man
I
himself.
like, I didn't totally understand. You know, I'm still trying to figure out what that day actually means, because I was only able to experience it as a 5-year-old. So I was just kind of able to get at glimpses of. I didn't viscerally feel anything, I don't think, but except for, seeing everyone feel it. You get some sense, and then as you grow. But yeah, I mean, I think that that memorial is just so successful at that feeling that I didn't have, but maybe would have and do have, growing up in this time. And that's just kind of how I felt about the flowers. Kind of smashed.
You kind of got a clear feeling emotionally of the empathy that is required.
Yeah, it's something that's
to understand the situation.
Mm-hmm. Something that's beautiful and alive, but smashed in dirty pavement. By shoes, boots. And we didn't even it's heavy because none of us wanted to. It wasn't meant to happen like that. But flowers in a street are vulnerable.
Yeah. That's heavy. So you guys just went out to Minneapolis that weekend before we got there, right? Or did you go back again?
Yeah, no, just that one time.
Just that one time, okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything going on in Ames?
I don't know. And I asked Cassie that the other day, because really, I imagine a lot of people are just going to Des Moines since it's so close. She seems to think that there are some things, but I don't think it's. I don't know. I haven't heard about it, but I also.
It just seems like Ames is more spread out, or at least I don't know though, because they do have their downtown and then their old downtown, so it could be happening in those places.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't even think I've interacted with a police officer yet in my year here.
Oh wow. Yeah, I just interacted with that group that was huddled when I went out to go get the tequila.
Yeah, that's true. That's hilarious. And so that you might have been the first. Cassie said she had, when she worked at Cornbread, there was one of the prep cooks. He would just prep cook once a week, maybe Sunday morning or something. He'd come in and prep some food. And then one day he came in for a takeout order a different time of the week and was full on-duty police officer. She's like, wait, you're the guy. He's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was her only interaction with the police officers, one that she worked with without knowing the guy.
Wow.
So I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, I think obviously the experience might not be normal, but I don't know. I'm not sure what the people feel about the police here.
It's a tough call.
I know we have.
I can't really read Ames.
Right, and I feel I'm also I don't know. I don't go. I'm sure I've interacted with police if I go to the more college party part.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just never over there.
Just not necessarily. The cops don't really go around your world. You do out in the woods.
Yeah, exactly. They're not out
your
there.
world out in the woods.
I ran this shit. I ruled this.
The game is mine. Yeah, man, it's hard not to. When I was talking to Munson about it, it's kind of similar to the when the pandemic hit. This feeling that wait a second, nothing matters actually. We just have this pandemic that controls. Actually, when it comes down to it, makes you realize that all that matters is that we need to, eat to survive and stay healthy, and that also it brings to light the realization that we appreciate socialization, when you take it away. We realize we value that. So then I had this similar feeling with all this Black Lives Matter stuff. It's wait a second, actually nothing matters right now at all except fighting for this change. Yeah. Just in this moment at least. But then you have to kind of calm yourself down and you have to realize okay, it's a long battle, so do your research, but also don't let it consume your entire being.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of where I'm at with it now.
Right. Just because, like, we are, in a way, new to this.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean
exactly.
it's new.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like I've got my head in a good place with all of it, and I'm just gonna try and be better, but it doesn't mean that I need to, like, change what I do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess in terms of, like, I get creative with my hours, you know? So still trying to feed that part of my soul.
Sure.
While also trying to learn more about what I can do towards ending racism.
Yeah, that's definitely something I can relate to. Just like just with all of these kind of very serious and real things being brought to the attention of just like having things that are bullshit just kind of fall away.
Yeah, like the bullshit that, like, I love, you know, like, normally.
Uh-huh. And I guess just like on the Corona side of things, yeah, like when I'm riding my motorcycle or something, I went through Pella. I'm like, Pella, Iowa, they have a tulip festival every year. Like, it's still springtime. Like, I wonder. And I was like, well, wait, that's canceled. And it's just weird, like how the summertime is usually full of all these events that are just like people put a tremendous amount of effort into putting up an event with music and food and drinking, and everybody comes out, and that's like what we look forward to, and that's what we do, and that's what makes summer so great.
Which is what makes life so enjoyable.
Yeah. And it's just, those are all, all of those are gone, and it's interesting
like those
to see how we just are like entertaining ourselves.
It's
like
all
without
the
it,
stuff
life
that we
does
do to
feel
entertain
a little
ourselves.
Meaningless without
Mm-hmm.
those things that I'm used to giving me meaning and things to look forward to. Without a tulip festival and hill climb, my phone's been, I got a 1 week notification. Hey, hill climb's in a week. And then, hey, hill climb's tomorrow. Hey, hill climb's today. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, I canceled, but like, it's just my Google Calendar. I put that in there.
Yeah.
So it just kept reminding me, and like, because I've never been to hill climbing. I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. They just drive dirt bikes up a steep hill in my hometown, But all of those things, yeah, they're just not around.
They just don't matter, yeah.
They just don't
They're
matter.
just not around because of the pandemic, yeah.
And it just kind of is leaving me with a bit of an existential dread of like, man, nothing matters. Like, we have just been bullshit.
We have just been entertaining ourselves.
Filling our time here. Yeah.
We have just been entertaining ourselves with this privilege, in a way. The fact that we're able to just, just to live and not care about those societal deep issues for so long.
Well, I think it's universal though too. I think that it's like bigger than that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That it's almost a human condition, is that we are just entertaining ourselves.
Oh, a metaphysical rebellion. I've been reading about rebellion, just because I happen to have a book about it that I ordered. That one that I was like telling you about a little bit when I was researching like rebellion in art, and I was talking about how like some people view, what was I saying? Like, I forget the example I gave, but it was something like an art piece to one person could mean so much, but to another person it could just be a pair of shoes or something. I forget exactly what it was. Damn, but yeah, I happened to order this book a while ago on revolution just because there was this French author from the 40s and 50s that was like pretty cool. And when all this started happening, I was like, dude, I should go back and look into this book on revolt, and I read the first few chapters, and like it starts off with just rebellion, and then it goes into metaphysical rebellion. So rebellion is just simply the act of saying no to when you recognize something that is unfair between human or society, which is what we're dealing with kind of right now. But then metaphysical rebellion is when you look at up to the gods and you say, no, this is not fair. It's a matter of the mind, the rules of the game that life has, is been proven to you to be unfair, and so you demand revolution within the way, you bring God to your level, in a way.
Yeah.
So.
It's good to have a word for it. Metaphysical rebellion. Not only a word,
yeah.
but beautiful set of words.
Yeah, I ended up throwing that into the text back to my dad, and that's the one part that I've kind of been kicking myself about. It's dude, I should not have dropped that bomb. I did not want to sound like that dude pulling up his pants and pushing his glasses up against his nose.
Yeah, I feel
this
it's
is
a really
not
good
the time.
Sen Morimoto line, where he drops a line like that to a girl and then just immediately regrets it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about at all?
I don't.
Because it's called, I don't mean to sound this odd, it's awkward, this is not the way I want it. But I can't think of the line that does it.
Wow, what a great song. This is not the daily This is not the
way you want it. I'm just looking up. Yeah, because he's talking about they don't understand.
Honest.
Yeah, the crab that's in the sand don't see the sea. I need a sack. That's the metaphor for people not seeing something. I don't remember what it is, but whatever. He explains it really well, and then he's just fuck. I didn't I wasn't gonna go there. I wasn't gonna do this. Almost now you see me like this, but also and that's me. He's cool. He's very talented.
Yeah, man.
While we're on existential grief.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of what did you say? Existential rebellion. I said grief because that's what I was about to talk about.
Metaphysical rebellion, but yeah, it comes from existential grief of the realization that the way that the universe is made up is unfair.
Yeah. So
it's unfair to the player,
I was
as the sailor goes through the sea and the storm comes upon him, he says, "Look at the unfairness I must go through,"
Yeah. Yeah, in my just little reading, the author just on a little quip was I was feeling the fourth stage of grief, and so I was oh shit,
feeling a little what?
I don't know. They were saying
lost.
They were feeling no. I don't remember what they were feeling. Whatever it was, it was
It was the fourth stage of grief.
And I was oh shit, yeah. That's something I've definitely heard about, but I kind of forget what those are. Yeah. It's just let's bring that up. And so here, the 5 stages of grief are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance.
Huh.
And I was that's really helpful to know.
Yeah.
And I was even thinking about it just because with this whole, with Cassie accepting a job in Iowa City, I think I've kind of been going through those without exactly knowing those words, but I kind of look at that, I'm can I?
You kind of can see this. It's so wild that that's an actual thing.
Right? And I love whoever discovered that. Dude, that's that's a Hugh Prather's motherfucker, which is a little notebook that just goes, here's what happened, here is how I feel right now, next I feel this way. And then they go, okay.
It's so fun.
And then it happens to them again, something else happens to them. And they go, oh, I'm feeling this, and then I'm feeling this. I'm I wonder if that's going to be next. Okay. And then they go, hey, do you ever feel denial, then anger, then bargaining, then depression, then acceptance? And they're uh-huh, yeah. Which the bargaining one is the one that I can't quite wrap. That's the one that I'm I don't know. That's not one that I've identified before. But I'm curious to keep an eye out for that. But also, this is a 5, and then people also ask, what are the 7 stages of grief? What are the 8 stages? So it looks like there's some can be some guilt
There's some different kinds
but
of...
it always ends in acceptance and hope.
Dude, that's what Henry was... He wrote that script on for that movie They Said to Get Better, was he wanted to show the stages of grief. Which I think is a cool way to like go about working on a script, you know? Gives you a nice outline.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think about this bargaining one.
Yeah. Bargaining.
Do you think...
You're like reaching out to, you're trying to find a middle ground?
Well, yeah, and the closest that I can relate on this one is like I was just trying to find the positives in it while still feeling like this isn't ideal, but like, well, that'll be cool.
Like you're like, well, I'll be in Iowa City, I'll be in Iowa City more, I guess.
And then I was like cleaning the house because I'm like, well, like if I'm going to be like, if I'm going to be spending maybe some more time alone, I kind of have liked living alone in the past, and so I'll get a dish strainer so that like, the nice part about living by yourself is you're only cleaning up after your mess, so it's really easy to just like be in a flow. Like, well, that'll be kind of nice.
True.
So I think that was maybe my bargaining, and then that all wore off. Then like I was like not excited about any of those things. I'm like, well, okay, depression's next. But then...
You're like, wait, no, like I hated living alone.
No, I liked living alone, but I just like it wasn't sounding fun anymore. Like. Because it was basically like my laundry had piled up. I'm like, oh, now I gotta do my laundry. Because, because I'm like, I'm gonna go goddamn after myself.
I'm the only one that could do this.
Yeah. Which I've always done my own laundry anyways. But like, yeah. You just realize that like that's not actually fun. Like it's nice when you're doing it, but it's not actually like fun.
Yeah. Not something to look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah, cleaning up after yourself is not, it's not a great treat. It's a little... But so the shine wore off of that, and then you're, stage 45. Which is interesting. What is because AA has like a 10-step program, and I think Russell Brand kind of took that and just tried to do like the 10-step program to like, I think like spiritual awakening, he's Russell Brand, and didn't even like change the steps, literally just used the same steps.
Of AA?
Yeah. Of essentially like how do you overcome an addiction to a substance? It's like how do you overcome an addiction to the ego or whatever,
Yeah.
Which is, it's brilliant. That's fucking genius. Which I think he wrote a whole book on it, but I'm almost just curious what the 10 steps are.
It's fun to read through steps like that and dissecting sort of the nature of how an emotion or a portion of time happens, Like, that's exactly what the book on Revolt is, actually. It's... So, like, I'm doing this right now with that. It's just dissecting what a rebellion is and what happens with it. And simply what, what this will do and what that will do. And it's, like... pretty spot on to what's happening right now, and it's so nuts to think about like an author writing a book in the 50s and having it just correlate completely to 2020.
These things aren't new.
It's just that's what you can do though if with these things, with these formulas, with these outlines of how things work, by figuring out how a thing works, it will then be a guide towards dealing with that thing no matter what era you're in, because that's how this thing works.
Yeah.
It's not how it works in this time. It's just how rebellion in its pure, in the philosophical view of, how it works. And
but ultimately, this is not just the 21st century, but this is actually more than it is that. This is a time of rebellion. It's like,
I mean, dude, it
doesn't matter. This is a time of rebellion. Like,
it's mind blowing, man.
It's crazy.
Mind-blowing.
That's beautiful. That's wow. Man, doesn't it just make you want to be
I'm telling you, every
smart?
single page, every single page, I'm coming across certain lines that I'm like, dude, I need to get like a pencil or something and underline this. But of course, I'm just so like lazy that I don't do that. So, but I mean, really, like every page, I feel like I'm hitting giant realizations, but also they're so giant that I note to myself to like, okay, reread this chapter later. It's like you feel the realization, you feel that, but it's so hard to like really let it soak in and completely understand it. And I feel like I have a decent understanding, but I do want to reread those first 2 chapters on specifically just the vagueness of rebellion and also metaphysical rebellion. So, man, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad we got to this area to discuss that because, dude, I've been loving it.
That's so fascinating. It's crazy that you can just pick up a book like that and just like legit life-changing. Just that, because I'm sure that framework that lets you understand this. And not only will you always have that framework, I like that word, but I'm sure that that's just going to expand. I feel like the last book that did that for me is that The World Without Us, that thought experiment of what happens if humans were to disappear. Where it just like just totally just flipped all of these just assumptions that I kind of had. It's just all like, no. Here's here. And I was like, fucking it. Like it just feels like occasionally you just open up a book and you just feel like it's just truth.
yeah,
like,
dude.
Wow. Like it's so crazy because they don't even have to convince you. You just read it and just like, who is it that says, who is like the big acid guy? Fuck, I should know.
Duncan Trussell or no, Alan Watts?
No, okay, in between those two. I want to say actually not that. Both chronologically and otherwise. I think he was like, he's got funny ass voice like Duncan. Whatever, doesn't matter. He just always says like the truth is not fragile. And he's like saying like, you don't have to tiptoe around the truth. You don't have to watch what you say about the truth. The truth you can knock on. The truth is solid. You can try to push it to the ground. The truth stands. Like I kind of like that.
Yeah. The truth. The truth is solid. What you drinking?
Water.
Okay, yeah, so.
Yeah. I had a Scotia coffee, but that was before the podcast.
Yeah, same. I went over to Dunn Brothers Coffee.
Dunn Brothers.
Which is
2 N's?
Which is over in North Liberty, yeah.
Where at?
Over by, there's a Falbo over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right over next to there.
Falbo Brothers.
Falbo Brothers.
My high school math teacher used to deliver pizzas for North Lib Falbo.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, my brother.
It looks like it's a new Falbo. But
no. Yeah, he was doing it like while he was teaching. Like my brother ordered a pizza, and it's just like Mr. Farrar. So, wait, he wasn't math. I think he was literature. I don't know. Oh fuck, what did he? Yeah, he was literature. Because he was like this big dude with this big old beard, and he would just sweat. He would always wear a like short sleeve white shirt with a pocket protector for his pens. In case like a pen breaks, it doesn't ruin your shirt. And he would just fucking sweat all the way to his hip every day. And he'd spit and get excited, but he was fun. He was fun to listen to.
He would spit?
Yeah, just because he'd get excited. I think he's probably like, Russian descent. Big funny dude.
Wow, dude.
But I remember he'd always talk about like when he'd be on like poetry center, he'd be like, "Today was a relatively good day. I didn't have to use my AK." And he'd be like, he's just like, there's that's as good as anything, It's like, fuck yeah, bro, go on, let's go. But yes, my brother ordered a pizza. I think it was from Falbo. And he opens the door and they just both like look at each other. And then it kind of clicks. Like, oh shit.
That's wild.
Yeah.
You been talking to Jordan much?
No, and I've been meaning to. Because he is in the loop, and I kind of just like gotten a little bit of. My mom had just talked to him this week, and I talked to her, And it sounds like one night they just like rented some bikes at night and just kind of rode around.
Dude, yeah, it'd be cool to hear about what he's seen so far in Chicago, because it seems to be kind of a hot spot for it all, too.
Yeah, and was it you that was talking about them lifting up the bridges?
Yeah, dude. They were just trapping people in the loop.
So he's in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So that's where things were going down, probably.
That's what I'd like to hear. And I think he said, well, my mom had said that he was taking some photos, I think of like some of the spray paint and things like that. And then he said it just felt wrong. And he just kind of
Take photos.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, when I was taking videos, I made it a clear point not to record any video of anybody spray painting because you don't want to get anybody in trouble or caught later on via your videos.
Yeah.
I mean, but just videotaping the spray paint itself, it's interesting to have that feeling.
Yeah. And we obviously need, photographers and documentarians.
Dude, yeah, I was trying to think, like, man, they're trying to, like, figure out what skills do you bring to the table, so how can you help our DIY organized group of protesters,
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not trying to pretend that I have many other skills other than an artistic eye,
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if they needed something like that on staff,
Yeah.
be willing to help provide something in that way,
Yeah.
Like, they have a social media account now, like, I have a really nice camera. I don't know.
That makes perfect sense. Get yourself a little green glow stick.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
that's
the
what I'm
media
saying.
side
Like,
of things. Yeah.
media guy.
And so I think that is like a very necessary role. But like I also think I feel where Jordan's going from, where if you're not that, it's kind of like when you go to a wedding, you hire a photographer so that not everybody's on their phone.
Ooh, yeah.
I feel it's kind of like that. You need someone to document it. You need people.
So that everybody else can feel comfortable just straight up protesting and not having to worry about putting everything on their stories or.
Yeah, and while I'm not discouraging anyone from doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I know like
doesn't
I
put
definitely
pressure on
I
them
took
to actually
one.
have to.
I thought I was gonna take a lot of photos when we went to Minneapolis, but it just did it for me that it didn't feel right. I took one, so literally, just one photo. But yeah, like if I were to have crouched down and got a nice angle on those flowers or something, with the people's feet in the background, it wouldn't have felt right.
Yeah, there's another part of all of this that I can't help but think about as well. If it's not my moment, I'm just here to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to overstep my boundary in this movement,
Mm-hmm.
It's the people of color's movement. So here to help, but not to make my voice overheard,
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'll send you the link of that documentary that I watched. It's just a little 10-minute video, like covers like sort of the night's events. There was one moment. So it started really raining, and that was pretty cool to be like in a protest where it's just pouring rain, and you get like this thunder. And I wasn't filming during that part, obviously, because I was using my camcorder, which was really old, and it was early on in the protest too, the part in which I was still a little uncomfortable filming, kind of like Jordan, or you're saying. But as the night went on, I got more and more comfortable just kind of committing to it. But dude, there was this giant lightning strike that went right into this like telephone pole right next to all of us. It was the loudest noise ever. I swear to God, I thought my left ear almost was gonna go deaf. And I was like, dude, if that one moment could have been on this little documentary, it would have been such a better coverage of this event. But no, I think it was a pretty cool documentary, and you'll get an idea as to what it was like out there. Got anything else planned for the day?
Nothing big.
Do you check out any Young Frankenstein or Gene Wilder?
I haven't done any Gene Wilder, no. No, I don't know. I don't think I really...
Dude, I watched part of Blazing Saddles. I don't know if you've got Hulu.
I have Hulu, yeah.
Yeah, there's one on there, Blazing Saddles, which was kind of interesting to watch. I mean...
Blazing Saddles, it ends... Do you watch it all?
No.
Okay. I think
Watched
I've seen
half of
it, and the end especially really got me.
I mean, dude, it's interesting in its behavior, and its surrealist behavior of very much like theater-ish type acting, you know, just really big acting all around, and it's kind of fun, man. Like a surrealist western, I think is what Gene Wilder called it.
Well, and it's so interesting how that whole style of like comedy like kind of only existed then.
Yeah.
And like, because I don't know, maybe I just don't see it, but I can't think of anything that even comes close to that same feel.
Yeah, it was a unique feel when I was watching. I was like, man, this is very consistent in what it's doing, and it's not doing something much of anything I've seen before.
Yeah, I feel like maybe that's just something to be said about the whole comedy genre.
Well,
it
and I think that
has to change.
Yeah, that's true.
Because even like if I think about what was happening 10 years ago in comedy, it's not happening anymore, which I'm kind of down with.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just can't, because comedy, I guess, is the unexpected. You set something up and then you give them something unexpected.
Yeah, that's your stages of comedy.
Yeah.
Stages of comedy formula. I don't know if you could tell earlier, but man, I was going heavy on comedy when I was thinking up that radio info YouTube vid.
You wanted to make that comedy?
Oh yeah. I don't know if you foresaw that in my
well, you mentioned
intentions.
A character. So
yeah, true.
That's a give me the
hold that word back.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily know the character. I mean, it would be some improvising, you know. But I just think those videos are always a little bit charming and funny. So I was going to kind of ramp up that aspect. Just alone, the idea was funny of, you know, here's how to install your cassette player into your 2001 Toyota Corolla in 2020. Like a brand new video of it. Just thought that could be kind of goofy.
Do you think... I'm trying to think it'd be
acting
funny
as if
like,
it'd be a very important, like, you know, this is something you're going to want to do.
Yeah, and I'm almost wondering if you, like, almost pretend as though you are living in 2002.
Ooh, yeah.
But, like...
I mean, I think that's what I want.
Yeah.
I want the intention to seem as if I think that this is the brand new Toyota Corolla radio.
You can, like, compare it to the past models.
Just drop a lot of unneeded information.
Yeah.
Go on for a while about some little story.
You see the 99 Corolla.
So basically, like, I got this from my grandma, and like my grandma lived out in Arizona for a bit. And just like,
oh my god,
just really get like sidetracked a lot.
Dude,
anyway,
what if
okay,
it was like, this is like stupid, don't actually do this, but if it was like, yeah, you just go on like that for like 20 minutes, and then it kind of like goes to like a black screen, and it's like, the battery on my camera died. Anyways.
Yeah.
Just and then you just do like a 4-card description of how to change the radio.
Yeah.
Basically just unplug
I think
it.
yeah, dude, I think I would even start it how I have my car right now, you know, like I already have the whole thing pringed, like I already took the whole front off and have the radio basically out. So I was going to like just start it at this point where I'm already like 3 steps in. So basically all I did was just like turn the battery off and then you know, like not explain from the beginning.
Start.
That's where I got the idea of that from, was because I was watching a video where he was just kind of saying, like, okay, basically you do this thing that I didn't show you. And
Dude, there's potential for this to have a lot of dislikes.
You're right, because that's a big part of YouTube I'm going at.
And that's specifically someone coming not for comedy.
That's so true.
So I feel like if you don't, which I mean that kind of makes it funnier. That you're pretty much just trolling.
Like, it's not for practicality. It's just a trolling video.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going that route, but you could
I'd
make
have to
it
commit
an
to that.
Actually, really useful and entertaining. That's a choice,
true.
I guess.
But how? How? You know, it's like...
Well, does anybody else actually offer the advice? Is the advice actually out there?
Yeah. That's like how it got, going on it. I mean, but there wasn't great videos, which is why I got the idea to do it. Originally, it was like, that could be funny, and also, like, I could create a video that's a lot better than these people. So there was that aspect that I could have possibly the best radio installation video for a 2001 Toyota Corolla on YouTube.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing to shoot for.
Yeah, because you can definitely have comedy in anything. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't need to troll to have comedy.
Yeah.
You can find comedy and also have practicality.
Mm-hmm.
With mostly comedy. But extremely practical. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I just shot like a little thing the other day with my friend Sean.
Dude, what if you did?
Cool.
What if you just do a 2001 Camry radio unboxing?
Whoa.
Because I feel like that one is like just straight comedy.
Oh, dude, you know what's funny? I got the 2002 radio.
Mm-hmm.
So I could pretend it's 2002 and that I just got this new radio, and guess what? It works for my 2001. So if you're like me,
yeah, it's like
you just got the car last year.
Backwards compatible, so you can still use it with your 01s.
Yeah, like basically, I'm not gonna go out and get a new car. You know, I got this car. It's got a lot of miles to go on it, but I do understand in the new model, there's a new radio, and the radio is compatible. So I went ahead to eBay and I got me a 2002 radio, and today I'll be installing it.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I think you don't want to like directly ever say that it's 2001 or 2, but just try to hint at it as strongly as you possibly can.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Here's how to install a brand new radio into your 2001 Toyota Corolla. I was also thinking about maybe doing like kind of a cinematic one where like I don't necessarily ever talk to the camera, but it just kind of shows me. It's like a short film where like I just install it. And maybe I do like a voiceover if you can't really tell. But just like this real film looking video of me like doing the whole thing.
Like a day in the life of changing.
Like
radio.
getting the whole coverage and everything, but never like talking to the camera, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. There's this YouTube channel that I found that I've lost now, but it was this older fella who was just kind of like a handyman, and he was like, the video that I watched, it was him building a like ramp onto his mother's house, you know, just in the front, a nice wooden ramp for her to use. And yeah, I mean, it just showed the whole day, and it was like probably like a 20-minute video of the whole process with this like really relaxing voiceover of him just kind of dropping some knowledge, kind of explaining, but not necessarily a whole step-by-step, and then just kind of talking about the ethos of hard work. And remember one of the things he mentioned was he's like, there's this whole movement around working harder, or working smarter, not harder. And I don't necessarily ascribe to that. There's plenty of tricks you can do to make your work easier, but I think we've lost an emphasis on just working. If you start when the day starts and you put the hours in, you'll get it done. And you'll learn along the way. You'll know how to do it next time. And yeah, it was just like so wholesome and just like nice to watch and kind of insightful. And he would give tips like, it's a weird one to say, but it is if when you're on your knees, do everything you can do on your knees and then stand back up. It's like not wasting trips like this, like that.
Yeah.
It's like there was legitimate tips, but yeah, it was just like so nice to watch. I wasn't building a ramp, I was just watching it, and it was like, yeah, just really wholesome. I wouldn't mind finding that again. And like well shot. You just felt like you spent the day with him, like in front of his mom's house, building her this thing. He's just enjoying it. The sun's coming up, the breeze. He'll take a little break, drink some lemonade or whatever, you know. And then he gets that satisfaction of looking at his hard work paying off at the end of the day, and you kind of get a taste of it too.
Yeah.
It's funny when me and Bryce were playing Farm Simulator, and he was saying, God, I feel like I accomplished something.
Yeah, like I just did something, yeah.
And I've been city planning, city skylines. It was funny. Humans are easily fooled.
Yes, they are. Well, I don't know, man. I'm just hoping I can start to plan this trip.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, no word back from Hall yet, but I really hope that this works. And I hope it happens soon.
I hope that for you as well. You guys will have fun.
Do you know when Cassie starts? Like, I feel like I know, but it's hard to keep those numbers, those information. Like, any plans to come to town anytime soon, or?
Well, so
you been talking to Bryce at all, or?
So the start date was going to be the 15th, but I think they moved it back 1 week. Bryce, yeah, I was floating the idea. I mean, he's about in the same spot where he just doesn't know what he's allowed to do.
Yeah.
But I'm down whenever. I guess.
Just try and get together and do something.
Yeah, and I guess, I could stay in North Liberty too. I got other places that I could stay.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Because I felt like that was
yeah,
kind
that
of one
still
of the
might
obstacles.
be. That still might be easier. I mean, we could also like just do an all-day thing or something.
Yeah, well, it's also kind of
You
camping weather too. Actually, put the tent out.
True. Very
backyard.
true.
And they expect that at this point. You didn't think that, like, right? Because we're not even in the house.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing that.
Just sleep in my backyard.
Yeah. It's a good backyard.
It is.
One of the best.
I just mowed it the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, it's my first mow.
Shit. What'd you think?
Yeah. Loved it.
Yeah.
It's really simple.
Yeah.
And it's pleasant to watch the grass look better.
Yeah.
You know? It's like one of those where I was like, alright, I can mow it. And like, wait a sec, like, does it really need to be? Alright, well, I'll just do it. And then when you do it, you're like, wait, this looks a lot better.
Yeah. Like every time you vacuum.
Ooh, yeah.